Have you ever gone to a dinner party or an event and you run into somebody that has an amazing story and you're like, people need to hear this story? Well, those are the guests that I have here sitting with us today. And you guys, you have got to go on YouTube, find us at HIM4Her.org. Or HIM4Her Radio. Go to YouTube. You'll see these amazing faces, Women's Hot Topics. Today we have Cassie, Mike, and Ellie Frazier. They're so cute. They're sitting together, and I met them at an event. You guys, welcome to the radio show.
Thank you so much. Shug.
Thank you, Shug.
Hi, Ellie. We want to hear your little voice. Hi, honey.
Hi, Shug.
Hi, Shug.
So they're just so adorable sitting there, and I just love it. So I'm at an event in Florida here, and a friend comes up to me and says, "You've got to go over, introduce yourself to Cassie. She's got a super cool story." And I had the pleasure of meeting not only Cassie, but Mike and Ellie as well. And you all know I'm a grandma wannabe, so I've kind of adopted Ellie as my grandchild while we're here. She's so adorable. And she's got a story. We only have a short amount of time. I want to make sure that we get started, friends. But Cassie, can you tell us a little bit about the three of you real quickly to our guests?
So I know Ellie is 5 years old, and ever since she was a little tiny baby, we've been traveling all over the country through, by airplane. And ever since COVID hit, now we just travel full time in our RV around the country. So Ellie gets to meet different people, experience different, places. And so it's been...
And I get to meet new friends.
She has a bunch of pen pals all across the country. So it's really incredible.
I love that. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur since I was around 19 years old. And I worked really hard in my 20s and my 30s. So that once I did find the woman that I wanted to be with and have the family that I wanted to raise, that I would be able to kind of call the shots and enjoy life with them rather than kind of, life pulling me whatever direction it went. We are able to call the shots, and it's been a lot of fun. Like you, we're in a motorhome, a coach, and we travel nonstop to different cities, and we get to spend every single day with Ellie and homeschool her. And I get to work while I'm on the road as needed. You know how that is. And, we just enjoy life every day. I mean, we have an unbelievable relationship. We were friends for a few years before we began dating and then got married. We just live a really blessed life. We really feel very fortunate.
Amen. But then you had some issues that came up, which is going to bring us to the purpose of this show. Friends, have you ever wondered if God hears your prayers? Do you ever feel, does God still heal today? I met this family, like I had mentioned, at a function in Florida, and I want you guys to listen into this story because it's amazing. So Cassie, when you and I talked, you said the first sign that something was wrong is that I believe you described it as your brain felt like it was electric. What happened and why did it feel that way?
So I just went to bed that night and I just woke up in the middle of the night. I felt really funny. I felt a little off. And then all of a sudden I just felt this tingling sensation through my body and especially my brain. It just felt electric. And then I woke up my husband and I told him that I think something is wrong. And that's kind of the last memory that I really have. But I started seizing. So I was rushed to the hospital. And so it turns out that, I went to two different hospitals. The first hospital said that, I was just having panic attacks. Nothing's really wrong. And then, I was having about 2 seizures an hour after I went home. And so I couldn't take it anymore. And so Michael ended up taking me to another hospital. And from there, they did extensive testing. I was there for about 11 days in the hospital. They really couldn't pinpoint exactly what triggered it and just to give me a diagnosis. So that's kind of how this started off.
So how long ago was this?
This was the end of July in 2020.
So, Mike, what are you thinking through this beginning of the story?
Well, yeah, I remember it very well. It was around 2:00 in the morning at the end of July. I think it was July 29th. And yeah, she woke me up and she said that she was feeling like her brain was feeling electric. And then all of a sudden, I never actually been in very close contact with someone who was having a seizure, let alone somebody, it was a family or a loved one. So I called 911, of course. And we were just trying to get down to the root of it. But it was a devastating turn of events that led us down a path for the next 3 months of Cassie having for the next few weeks intensive seizures, over 50 a day, where she became completely incapacitated to the point where she was bedridden, and every care had to be taken care of down to being able to eat or bathe, or she lost the ability to walk. And it was just an absolute devastation. And on top of it, no doctors could tell us why it was happening. We actually, I think in total, saw 16 neurologists over a 90-day period who never gave us any type of insight. And so we began to basically try every single type of remedy. I had to really jump in and begin taking care of Cassie as if she was an incapacitated, 100-plus-year-old woman. Couldn't feed herself or even, use the lavatory or the bath or anything or walk. And then I had to take care of Ellie as well. So we quickly put her in school. And then I went and tried to begin researching as much as I could, every different avenue that we could. And, Cassie really got deep into her faith. And luckily we had a lot of people around us that would contribute to that as well. So we began doing amazing group prayers. We had a lot of people come out and really help us to the point where, we had people on the phone with us for 3 to 4 hours at a time in prayer, nonstop. So,
there's such power in prayer. And Cassie, you had mentioned as well that your aunt and your mother would pray for you guys daily, and you still pray together daily, which I think is just amazing, because the hand of God is moved by prayer. Could you feel the impact of those prayers?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. To say the least, yes. And I knew how much it meant to me, and just feeling it, knowing it, and believing it every day. My faith got stronger through prayer. That now that's all I do every single night. I have a prayer group with my aunt, my mother. So now we just pray for different people and situations that we're experiencing.
So to get back to where we were, you went to the first hospital. They said it's panic attacks, probably. The second hospital kept you for 11 days and did a series of tests. Mike is taking care of you and Ellie at home. What happened next? What was the turning point of all this?
So it happened when I was trying, I just got off medication completely, and I just decided, okay, well, this is a very rare incident and nobody really can tell me any answers. So this has to be made for me in my journey in life. And what really made me believe that was when I went to an acupuncturist in Delray, and he prayed over me before he began the treatment, the healing. And after he left the room, I remember just glancing up, and I just saw just shadows, and I felt like they were there watching over me. And it was very profound feeling. And I remember I told my husband, I said, this is going to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I didn't know exactly why I said that, but I felt like it was told to me, so I could believe it when I said it out through my own mouth.
So the acupuncturist prayed over you, and he was, when you and I chatted, you said he was calling down angels to come and protect you and heal you. And when you looked at those shadows, what did those shadows look like?
So I didn't see an exact form, as it was just very blurry. I just saw the head all the way down to the torsos, but they were standing all together and they were all facing me. So
That just chokes me up. I just feel like it's the saints or it's angels coming and they're healing you in the situation. So what
Yes.
happened after that? You turn to Mike and you tell him this could be the best thing, one of the best things that's happened in my life. Then what happened? The doctor comes back in.
Oh, the doctor just comes back in, and I don't even know exactly what I told him or what I didn't tell him, but
You did tell him that. You
I
did tell
did?
him what you saw and that it was like one of the best experiences. But she was in really, still really bad shape when we went there. She had to be wheelchaired in. She had to wear green goggles over her eyes. She had to wear, headphones, noise canceling headphones. No visual or,
Stimulation at all.
Audio stimulation was ability at all. Otherwise, she would have a seizure immediately. It would cease. That she'd start. And so anyway, we went there, and that was one of the first, real kind of turning points. But when she got off medication, that was the biggest thing. So the doctors, of course, tried to just give her every prescription in the world. She could hardly keep her eyelids open, and they felt that was going to be the remedy, which of course you can't go through life like that. And they said this could be a lifelong thing. We don't know if this will ever stop. So this could be your new normal, if you will. And so I researched a lot and got her some CBD. CBD, she went from having 50 seizures immediately. That day, we began a sublingual CBD regimen, and she went from 50 seizures a day to 5.
Wow.
And that was where she
started the prayer group.
That was where she could begin to be cognizant and aware enough that we could begin to do prayer groups with her rather than just not like over her.
Exactly.
That was the turning point.
She was able to participate in that.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. What happened after that?
I did see a neurophysical therapist, and I told her some of my goals, physical goals, and she understood the brain. And just, I actually prayed, now that I remember that, I actually prayed asking for a doctor, like some kind of guidance, because I didn't feel right going to just a standard physical therapist. And I knew that being a nurse, I knew that I should have found a neuro, somebody that actually understood the brain. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly how I found her online, but she was just a mile from the house. And
that was a bit of a miracle, though.
It was. I prayed for it too, because I couldn't find anybody to take care of me.
She was a needle in the haystack. So we contacted like 20 different physical therapists. The reason, kind of backtracking, is she lost the ability to walk from being in bed, and she got down to like 79 pounds. She couldn't walk. We had one little step this high to get in the front door of our house, and she couldn't even lift her leg enough to get into the front door of the house if I took her out in a wheelchair to walk her around, which I tried to do a few days a week. So we found this one physical therapist who was a neurophysical therapist. There were no other around, and she had just opened her office up that month, 1 mile from our house. And there was no one else in South Florida that did her specialty that we could find. And so that was really incredible that she just kind of like fell right into where we needed her at that time. And she was a blessing. We just did backflips over her. She was amazing. Everything that Cassie threw at her, she knew exactly what to do. Cassie walked in and she began having a seizure within the first minute she walked in the office, and she grabbed her and she said, "Mike, I got this." And she just got her back. And within like 7 to 9 days, she was not only walking, but had the ability to almost like jog a little bit. So
wow. The blessings of God's prayers.
And the doctors even said that what has happened to you should not happen. It does not happen. And what has happened to you is a miracle.
Exactly. No,
I believe in miracles.
I even told her the, this crazy idea that I told Michael. I said, if I ever make it through this, I want to go on an adventure. And one of the things that we always wanted to do was to get an RV and travel. And so Michael just went out and he found a coach. And I told Juvie, my physical therapist, this, and she said, okay, she's like, you know what? I'm going to make it my personal goal that I get you to the point where you need to be in order to go on this adventure.
So you went in there, you had a seizure, you could hardly walk, and you look at yourself today and you look like a perfectly healthy, beautiful woman. What time frame was it from that point to this point?
3 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4, like.
Yeah, it was 3 months of
yeah.
intensive, I would say issues, these issues that we were having. Extreme issues. And then, but it was a struggle all the way through. Like, once we got over that initial hump and we were able to bring it down from 50 to 5 seizures, and then down to, oh my gosh, it's been a week. Oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks. And then it's been a month. And then, I think for the following year, once we got it down to 0 for 1 or 2 or 3 week period, that she only had 1 or 2 episodes, very rarely came back. And so, but it's still a daily struggle. That's why she's continuing to be so deep within her faith, and that she, is in the prayer groups every night. And we all say it together. So they're always on speakerphone, and Ellie and I are all walking around saying
the prayers as they do.
It's become a family ritual, and we haven't missed one night in 15, 16, 17 months now. It might have been. So every single night, 365 days a year.
Wow, that is just wonderful. I love in Jeremiah, it says, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. For you are the one I praise. And I tell you, giving God back that praise for healing. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with health issues, not only health issues, but life issues. What have you been able to draw away from this? What have you learned from it?
So, quite a few things. Not all, just the way that I pray. I don't ask for things. I don't. I've definitely changed my perspective on how to pray to God, and basically just thank Him for everything that I do have, and thank Him for the lessons that I'm learning through struggling, and just thanking Him. Even say, for instance, I had really bad migraines when I had my seizures. I would say, thank you for my brain. Thank you for this healthy, strong brain that I have. Thank you for giving me this. And I would just go through and thank Him for all my struggles, basically, because I know that with Him, I can persevere and I can get through anything. So that was one major thing. Also, not to judge anybody. Subconsciously, I think that we tend to look at people and have this, word or a comment or something in our mind, and maybe not necessarily pay attention to that. But I really started to pay attention to any kind of judgment that I had towards anybody, because you just have to realize that everybody is carrying their own crosses, if you will. Mm-hmm. And to see that, or to know that, you can't necessarily know what they're struggling with, and just to respect them in their journey in life and where they are learning their lessons that God has intended for them. And just like that, and just with their faith, I believe that everybody has to go on their own spiritual journey to find God if they don't have them in their lives already. And let's see, basically, asking for help, asking for assistance when you need it, saying, if I can't forgive somebody that did something wrong to me or said some horrible comment, I basically, if I cannot do it with myself, I ask God for help. I ask angels for assistance. I ask Mother Mary for assistance and in helping me with anything that I have that I cannot do on my own. And then also, I would have to say, just learning to accept the struggles that you have, I think is the most difficult for me. Accepting these crosses that you have to carry, because once you realize that God has provided these for you as almost like gifts, because, He blesses you in different ways, even through difficult times. You just have to realize and change your perspective and know that these are gifts from God, and you just have to see the good in everything that He gives you.
Most people would say, well, a seizure, I know we're going to get a lot of people listening where their children or their loved ones are struggling with seizures, but you have said that this was basically a blessing in your life. What would you tell them, and why is that?
Oh, you want to say something?
Something just jumped out to me right now. I mean, I'll let you think about it for a second, but we wouldn't be sitting here with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You know, and beyond all those things, we've shared a lot of great experiences. We've known each other, I think we met about 3 months ago, right? At the beginning of the season here in the Motor Coach Resort. And we wouldn't be sitting here on this couch having this, conversation with you right now.
And sharing what God has done. And it's just amazing what he's done in and through you guys and in our suffering, in our trials. Jesus did not say to give us a fluffy life. He said, Lord, help me to be with them in this life, that he will be with us in this life, which I find so powerful. And I remember you had shared with me, Cassie, that you had prayed, you were asking God, what to pray for. And he kind of put on your heart, pray for abundance. Can you tell me what that meant to you?
So I didn't actually understand what that meant at first, because I said, well, okay, I have everything that I need. I have food, I have shelter, I have my family. What more could I actually need in my life? And I didn't really understand that until I started looking up prayers for abundance. And then there was one that I ran across that it just completely clicked in my brain, knowing that it's God. It's my abundance for God and having God in my life and having faith and believing. And it was really powerful once I read that. And once in a while, I still go back and I say that prayer whenever I feel like, I want to go out and I feel like I need more of this or that. I just say, okay, I don't need that. What I really need is God. And even when you feel like envious of somebody, once you really feel God in your heart, that he can fill any void that you may have. And so that was really powerful. So the abundance is God and having God within you.
What a profound thought for all of us to remember. When we need abundance, it's only the Lord Jesus Christ that we need in our life. In Philippians, it says, and my God will meet all of your needs according to the riches of his glory in Jesus Christ. And as we wrap up here, Cassie, you shared with me that you want to take this experience to help other people. What is it that you're trying to do now?
So my new journey, something that also helped me was going through this time I met this spiritual lady, and she developed this technique called emotional alchemy. It basically transmuting difficult traumas or emotions and transmuting them to positive ones, such as today I found out that my girlfriend had passed away, and that's a load of grief on you. And the only way that I could get through that was to take a form to that, feel that in my body, and give it a color and a shape, and basically raise it up and to give it to God's light. And in return, it turns into the opposite. Grieving turns into gratitude. So therefore, I'm grateful for her life to be shared.
Yes. And I love that too. I love to pray and praise. I like to turn things around, especially when it's difficult times. Just exactly what we're talking about. We're going to take what's negative in our life and turn it around and give praise to God for what it is. Hey, friends, if you are listening for the first time, I am so thankful you're with us. Thank you so much, Cassie, Mike, and Ellie, for joining us on HIM4Her Radio Women's Hot Topics. This is Shug Bury. I love you. Over
Thanks,
and out.
Take care.